So I've noticed a theme in several conversations that I've had lately, both with clients and friends and just online. I've noticed this whole theme of lots of I've gotta's and right now we can't, or right now we have to, or maybe some I have no choice, I have to fill in the blank. That's actually not the theme. The theme is how all of those things that they're saying after that, like the I've got a blank, right now we blank, I have no choice but to blank, they are all coming from the world's priorities and demands. And these are people who profess to believe in God. They profess to be godly women who are living a Christian life. And yet, their list of I've gotta's and we've got to's all come from worldly demands. God's priorities and God's demands seem to come second. So, my question to you is as we head into this episode, how's that working for you? If you're a mom who identifies with what all I've just said, or if you're not a mom that identifies with what I've said, but maybe you've seen it in those around you, how's it working for them? How's it working for our world? How is it working for most women in this world? Are we full of peace and joy as Christian women as we choose to do the I gotta's or I've got to's or I have no choice but to? Is that giving us peace and joy? Or are we struggling with our mental health and our physical health and our peace? It's hard. Either way, it's hard. Whether you choose the world's way or you choose God's way, it's hard. So, which hard will you choose and why? I want to talk to you today and hopefully help you choose the best hard. Let's go. Hey, Mama, you have found your way home. This is If Mama Ain't Healthy, Ain't Nobody Healthy, and I'm your host, Lori Morris. I'm a Christian wife, mom, and midwife, and I'm so glad you're finally here. I know you're tired of feeling bounced around the system, never feeling heard or understood, and you're sick and tired of feeling sick and stuck. Whether you're trying to conceive, pregnant, or in the months and years after pregnancy, I want you to know I'm here to help you find your way out of confusion and into true wellness by working with God's beautiful design, not against it. From your physical health to your emotional and spiritual health, there is no topic off limits as we walk together through all seasons of motherhood. So if you're ready to step out of the world's way and into God's way of living well and loving life, take a short break from changing diapers and cleaning the kitchen again for the third time today and sit a spell with me. What you learn today could change generations. Review time. Headline for today's review from back in June is Love This Podcast. It says, I have loved this podcast so far. I'm early in my first pregnancy and have heard enough birth stories to know I want to be different. I'm so blessed to have come upon Lori's podcast. She is sweet, easy to connect with, and backs up her thoughts with facts and research. I love that she has both views, hospital and non-hospital. Thank you so much for that review. It was from AK08. I appreciate you so much and appreciate you taking the time to leave me that review, and I'm glad that it's helped you. Honestly, that's one of the things that makes my perspective a little bit different is that I have seen both sides of it and I understand how they all work together, or maybe how they don't work together, in a way that gives me a unique perspective in addition to my faith. And I'm just glad that it's helped you and so many other women. And so thank you for leaving the review so I can find other women like you and they can find me. And to the rest of you who haven't left me a review yet, if you could just head over to Apple Podcasts, leave me a quick 5-star written review. Just helps me so much to find other moms like you. It helps this whole algorithm thing for me to pop up a little bit higher so people see my podcast when they go searching for certain topics. Okay, enough about that. Let's get on to our topic for today. There is nothing easy in life. You know that. The easy way went away way back in the Garden of Eden in Genesis. And we can wish that we were still back in the garden. It's just not going to happen, right? Our world has done a masterful job, though, of putting distractions all around us. Distractions are in front of us at every angle, and it has labeled them as priorities. And there's a lot of them. The world can do what the world does. And the God of this world, as we know from Scripture, is Satan. We got to remember that. How do I know that, by the way? How do I know that the God of this world is Satan? It's in 2 Corinthians, and I think it was chapter 4. I actually put down these verses, and I didn't put down the chapter, but I think it was 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Starting in verse 3, let's read. But even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing, whose minds the God of this age has blinded. Some translations make that the God of this world, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them. For we do not preach ourselves, but Christ Jesus the Lord, and ourselves your bondservants for Jesus' sake. For it is the God who commanded light to shine out of darkness. That's the God. It is him who has shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellence of the power of may excuse me that the excellence of the power may be of God and not of us. We are hard pressed on every side. By the way, this is Paul talking. We are hard pressed on every side, yet not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed, always carrying about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life of Jesus may be manifested in our body. Paul wrote these words about some awful treatment that they were receiving, but they kept their priorities straight. He chose the hard of following the Lord, and that was incredibly hard for him. He was persecuted in many, many ways, but he kept his priorities straight, and that brought him eternal reward. So here's what you need to know. Our physical health is a priority, without a doubt, but it is not more important than our spiritual health. Let's go on to read in verse 16 of that same chapter. Therefore, we do not lose heart, even though our outward man is perishing, yet the inward man is being renewed day by day. The inner man is being renewed. That's our spiritual selves. Our outward man is perishing. That means we're going to die. We are slowly dying, right? But our inward man is renewed day by day. We're going to get to that. That doesn't mean you have to be miserable here, though. Don't think that. Stay with me. For our light affliction, which that's what he was calling that persecution he was undergoing, our light affliction, which is but for a moment, is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, while we do not look at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Our priorities have to be there. So when the world gives us these distractions and calls them priorities, we as Christians cannot get sucked into believing that and to also calling them our priorities. We've got to keep our priorities straight. Here we see that Paul knew what was more important. But with that being said, we know that the things of this world and in doing things the world's way can steal both our physical and our spiritual health. He was talking about the things he was going through, and he was talking about them both physically and spiritually. And our world that we live in can steal health physically and spiritually from us. So we must focus on what is eternal so that these things don't get stolen from us. But to do that here and to help others learn to do the same, we can't be sick. All right. So we can't spend our lives here sick all the time, worrying about all the doctor's appointments and the medications and all the things because we have taken such poor care of our bodies that we can't function. We can't be physically and spiritually sick during our time here on earth if we want to be effective for the kingdom of God. It was hard for Paul to do the work that he did. It's hard for us to do what's right for our souls and for our bodies now. It takes real work. Paul chose to do God's way. God's hard. And what do I mean by that? It's hard either way. It was going to be hard for him if he chose the world's way. It was hard for him. God had to literally stop him on a road and make him blind to get his attention. But he saved him from the heart of eternal damnation. So he, from then on, chose God's heart. He chose to follow the Lord. My question is, are you going to do that? Despite what the world makes hard for you, because you choose God's hard, are you going to choose the world's hard? Because that's also hard. Or are you going to choose God's hard? And what does that even mean? We have to learn to choose our hard. We're going to have it hard either way. Which one's it going to be? I mentioned some conversations I've had lately in the introduction. And the thing I've noticed again is the worldly priorities that are causing our roads to be hard in causing it in a way that I propose we as women were never intended to carry. We were never intended to have these things on our plates. And it's through that lens that I want you to consider what I'm going to share with you today. It's going to be easy for you to hop into that, oh, you don't understand mode. Like, oh, you don't know my story. You don't know what I've got to deal with. It's going to be easy for you to go there. The enemy's going to want you to go there because they're going to want you to dismiss everything, or he's going to want you to dismiss everything that I'm saying. But while I may not be in your exact shoes, I do know that we are in a battle. Everything in our existence is spiritual. Even the physical things, they are spiritual too. So while we may only see the surface and what's going on right in front of us, there is a deeper battle going on. And it's a battle for our souls. Everything we do in our lives either moves us closer to the Lord or further away from the Lord. Every single thing, every decision we make. That is why everything is spiritual. You've got to start thinking that way, or you will get pulled into the I've gottas and the I don't have a choices. That world is where you're going to end up. But you always have a choice. Always. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11 is in what is known as the love chapter. But really, that chapter is a chapter about spiritual gifts and the greatest gift that we have. But this one verse, verse 11, it can really help us to find a new perspective. And while taking any verse all by itself can cause it to be taken out of context, I believe that this context is one that we can take a lesson from no matter how you read it. Because it reads, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Obviously, we're women. And to say when we became a woman, we put away childish things does not change the meaning of that verse. So when we have become women, have we put away childish things? What we're going to get into is going to need some very grown up thinking, not childish, not surface level thinking, but mature, grown up, spiritual, abstract thinking. When I say abstract, it's not the concrete, it's not what's right in front of you. It is thinking deeper into your heart and deeper into how God designed us. Which hard will you choose? I saw a post the other day, or I think it was like yesterday, on Instagram, and I wish I had saved it. Went back and looked, and I didn't. But the post was, it was like a bus full of people, and some Amish people got on the bus, and the people that weren't Amish asked them. They said, "What makes you different than us?" And one of the men said, "Do you think that TV is harmful to you?" Or raise your hand if you think that television, is harmful to your family. And most of the people on the bus raised their hand, or I don't remember if it was exactly harmful or just not good for whatever. Is TV, not beneficial for your family? Almost all the bus raised their hand. And then he asked, how many of you are going to go home today and throw away your TV? And almost no one raised their hand. And he said, that's the difference between us. We are willing to go without the niceties of the world. We are not willing to compromise. So when we see danger in something like a TV, we're not going to choose to have it in our home. They're going to get rid of it. They have no problem with that. See, the choices we are making that are in line with the culture standards and not with God's design are costing us. They don't want to pay that price, and yet we pay it. We are paying a price, whether we acknowledge it or not. And the TV is just one example. Obviously, there's good that can come from it, but there's a lot of bad that can come from it. And most of us acknowledge that, but how many of us still have TVs in our homes, right? It's just an example. I'm not saying go get rid of your TV unless that's something you decide you need to do. I'm just saying that we have free will. And we can we can choose to continue making choices that cause our health not to be optimal, but those choices have a price. And I'm not just talking about physical health, I'm talking about mental, spiritual, emotional health. So, which card will you choose? Let's think about this some more. Let's think about our physical health. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of things for you to think about different sides of what's hard that impact our physical health. It's hard to find time to cook healthy meals with whole foods. It's hard to find time to acquire the ingredients you need. It's hard to find ingredients that are not laden with pesticides and with chemicals. It's hard to stop choosing the processed foods that you've trained yourself You've trained yourself to love and crave by design, of course. They've made it to where that naturally happens, but you see what I'm saying. It's hard not to run through a drive-through and grab dinner. It's hard not to say everything in moderation or a little bit won't hurt. It's hard to make the connection that what you eat really does matter to your health because you are what you eat. That's what your body makes everything from is the food you eat. It's hard to block out the world's commercials and messaging. It's hard to cut out processed foods. But it's also hard to feel bad from compromising. It's hard to watch our kids get more and more unhealthy because we haven't prioritized teaching them to eat well and why they need to eat well and how they can eat well and make good choices on their own. It's hard to watch ourselves get more and more unhealthy for the same reasons. It's hard to spend time and money at the doctor for the third time this month because somebody's sick yet again. It's hard to carry extra weight that you don't have to. It's hard on your organs. It's hard on your joints. It's hard on your hormones. It's hard to start feeling old long before you have to. It's hard to feel out of energy at 2 p.m. when you've still got 7 hours left of stuff to do, including the best stuff, which is the stuff with your family at the end of the day with your kids. It's hard to not feel like getting out and throwing a ball with your kid or running around or playing or whatever. It's hard to feel like I can't get out of this bed. I do not want to get out of this bed. I did not rest well. It's hard having to buy bigger and bigger clothes because the old ones don't fit anymore. Choose your hard. Which side of that equation do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the hard that makes the hard choices even though they're hard, but you end up healthier at the end? Or do you want to be on the one that gives in and doesn't prioritize those things, but then pays on the back end, and that's hard? Let's talk about lifestyle. These aren't just physical health, just lifestyle choices. As you listen to these, you may think they don't really fit in this podcast. But please understand that emotional, mental, and spiritual health most certainly are part of mama being healthy. Because if mama ain't healthy, ain't nobody healthy. And if you aren't spiritually, emotionally, and mentally healthy, you're not healthy. And you better believe that these things cause anguish to countless women because they chose the wrong hard. These may be challenging. These may make you mad. They may step on your toes. I'm okay with that because I want you to grow and I want you to do better. It's hard to stay home and be a keeper of your home the way Titus 2 teaches us to. It's hard to live on one income. It's hard to educate your children at home. It's hard not to do all the quote, keeping up with the Joneses stuff, like driving the new cars and having the new house and the new neighborhood and the new development. It's hard. It's hard to say no to sports or other commitments that interfere with spiritual activities like worship and Bible study. It's hard to make time to do good for others. It's hard to dress modestly according to the Lord's standards. There is one, by the way, from Scripture. It's not subjective. It's hard to talk about uncomfortable subjects with your kids like sex and purity. It's hard to make choices as a woman professing godliness. But it's also hard to have a home that's falling apart because no one's tending to it. And I don't mean the physical home. It's hard to have children who depart from the truth because their quote education has taught them that the Bible is a myth and they're silly for believing it. It's hard to have children who don't respect you because they've been insidiously taught not to by the system you sent them to and trusted because you either didn't think you could educate them or you didn't want to or it was too hard. It's hard to have kids who are so deep into competitive sports that they forget about God. Or maybe they don't want to forget about God, but now they feel like they don't have time because of all their commitments. It's hard to find out that the compromises on the outfits that you let them wear as small children and then called it cute have led to them thinking it's cute to be basically half naked as teenagers and adults. It's hard to find out that they've already been involved with some boy or girl because you didn't have that talk, that hard talk all along the way. You didn't have the hard, weird conversations about sex and about staying pure. So they learned about these things from the world's way instead. It's hard to have money, but no time to enjoy it. It's hard to have money, but have worldly children that you barely know. It's hard to lose our eternity because we put the world above God. Y'all, our choices impact our health outcomes. Here are some things that I personally had to realize specifically as a Christian woman. These are lessons I had to learn. See, God laid out his intention for women in Scripture. One good place to learn about that, I mentioned a second ago, is Titus 2. But our world has added and added and added to what that says that women are supposed to do, and it's also taken away some things from it. But this was not God's doing. I was guilty of this mentality, but I've learned better, and I wish that someone would have made me think about these things when I was much younger. So I'm now going to bring them to you all. I love my audience. I love the ladies who encourage me and have been here for so long, who email me and who have just been here listening all these years. And I don't know if you have someone in your life who is challenging you in this way. And I know that I wish someone had challenged me. And so I love you enough to challenge you here today, beyond what I've already challenged you. I wish someone had had the courage to tell me that how I dressed was not bringing honor to God, for example. That's just one example. And how I was dressing was not showing love to my brothers, and that it wasn't showing my love for God, because my love for God should have flowed through my dress so that I wasn't a stumbling block for my brothers. And so that my dress reflected my love for God so the world could look at me and know I'm a Christian woman. But my choices did not reflect that. I wish someone had had the courage to tell me that going to college and going to the Navy would delay my dreams of being a wife and a mom. And that it would also put stress on me now that God didn't design me to carry. Yeah, you heard me right. This is going to be a little bit of a vulnerable statement, but even me doing this podcast is evidence of a little bit of the burden that I carry because of those choices, because of that education that I got. I feel like because I have it that I need to use it. And I've found a way to do that so that I'm still fulfilling God's will for me as a woman. I'm home with my kids, I'm raising them, I'm educating them, we have meals together, all these things. But was me carrying that burden by the education I got, his will? I don't really think so. I'm thankful for what I know, and I'm thankful for the platform that exists now that didn't used to where I can talk to you guys and help you guys through the internet. But it has certainly caused stress over the years that I don't think he wants anyone to carry, honestly. Again, I'm thankful for it, and I hope that it blesses you, but I'll just leave it at that. I think I've said enough. It also put me, excuse me, in a world that undermines my health because of the impact of not getting enough sleep on circadian rhythms, which are essential to health. And what do I mean by that? I was a nurse going from day to night shift. Then I'm a midwife attending births at night because most births happen at night. And that's essential. Don't get me wrong, it's essential. And yet, it still undermines my health because it does not work with the way that God made my body to work. I have a theory that midwives are some of the most unhealthy people on earth because we are on call and sometimes go days without sleep so that we can help you all be healthy. And that's a blessing, but it's hard. There's lots of nurses out there carrying the similar stress of not getting sleep the way God designed us to. And those things, our circadian rhythms, are essential to health and hormone balance and all of these things. And we carry worry that you all have no idea about because we really do care that much. And I'm not saying that for any other reason than it's true. And if you're a midwife listening to me right now, realize that the work you do is important. But while you're trying to protect other women's health, you are sacrificing your own. And if you're not a midwife, but you're doing some other job that is impacting your sleep, you are sacrificing a bit of your health. Now, I've gone on a tangent a bit, but I really think that's important to think about. The world that we end up in when we are working these jobs that aren't necessarily what God told us as women we needed to do, which we can read about in Titus 2, they do have an impact on our health, on our childbearing, on our ability to be good moms, on our hormones, which impact all aspects of our health. There's so much that it impacts. But what do I mean about how what the world has put into women or taken away from them that God didn't want them to have or not have? That sounded a little confusing, but what I said earlier about the world adding and then also taking away, well, women can now, as I just kind of talked about, we can hold jobs pretty much anywhere, doing pretty much anything day or night. That didn't used to be the case. And many people, in fact, most people probably see that as a good thing. But now we are in worlds that maybe he didn't intend us to be in. We are doing jobs he didn't necessarily intend us to do. We can join the military. We can even go into combat. We can dress any kind of way we want. We can put off having families. We can choose not to breastfeed our babies, even though that's how God designed them to be fed. You name it, women can do it. But these are all things that God did not put in his description in Titus 2 for what women should be doing, women professing godliness should be doing. But we can do them if we choose. The world has told us that we don't have to or need to educate our own children. We don't even need to give birth to our children. We just have them cut out. We don't have to be home. We don't have to just cook and clean. We don't have to do all the things that used to be known as women's work. Despite the fact that men are busy doing their work, which, by the way, often is also not what God intended for their work to be, but can't get into that. Don't have time today. So women aren't doing the work, but men don't have time to do the work either. And so there's nobody there to pick up the slack. So now the work just doesn't get done. And now we have an entire generation or two, or maybe more, who have been brought up with no mama at home, all these home needs being neglected, and a generation of basically feral children who have become adults who have no discipline and very little actual education. And how has that worked out for our society? So we had a few generations who decided they'd rather choose the hard of doing things the world's way, calling it women's empowerment or feminism or whatever you want to call it, instead of doing things God's way, the hard of doing things God's way, which is really not that hard, by the way. It's just that the world is painted it that way. Because so much of what makes the world think that's so intolerable is because we mix the world's way with God's way. So we're trying to do all of both worlds and we just can't do it. Our health pays. We stress about all we can't manage to get done. We stress because the things we do get done, we don't get them done well. We stress about paying all the car notes and the credit card payments and the daycare bills. And all that stress combined with no health because we're not eating well, no nutrition because we're not eating well, all the health impacts that come downstream from that, all those things snowball with the stress into the symptoms that you're having right now. The fatigue, the anxiety, the weight, the hormones, the acne, the immune issues, the bowel issues, the fertility issues. It's all connected. No one's cooking, so we're all eating junk. No one's at home, so there's no direction, discipline, no family connectedness, no cohesiveness. When are we going to stop this madness? When are we going to put the world's hard road behind us and get on the road of blessing? Yes, it's hard to do it God's way. But that way has the creator of the entire world guiding you and helping you through. He knows what's best for you in ways you never can because he sees your tomorrow. When will you start trusting him to provide for you and start trusting him instead of thinking that the have tos and the gottas of the world are actually in your best interest? I know it's hard. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. You may not have been challenged in this way before, but you're here today for a reason. And you're hearing this today for a reason. Will you listen or will you continue on in the world's hard until you are feeling miserable and old in your 50s and 60s because you lost your health just in time for what they told you was supposed to be your best years, your golden years. I coach women like you. I help women find their way back to God's health for them. I help them understand how all of these things connect in their specific case to cause what they've got going on. And then we get to work fixing it, and we do it fast. So if you're ready to get off this fast moving train to nowhere and to get on the train to health and wellness with the Lord at the center, I'm here and I'm ready to help you. Just DM me over on Instagram or email me and let me know that you're ready for change, for real change. I'd be honored to be a part of your journey. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope that if I stepped on your toes, you know that I did it in love to challenge you to do better and be God's woman. And I'll see you back here next week. If you were blessed by today's episode, please take a minute to share it with another mama friend you know needs this info, or post a screenshot on your Instagram stories and tag me so I'll know you loved this episode. Then come hop into our Facebook group to find your people and have some like-minded support throughout your week. Also, I'd love it if you'd head to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. You can find links for all of these things in the show notes. I'm so thankful for you, and I look forward to hanging out again with you right here next week.